How's everybody doing today? So if you watched our last video, you know that we finally got the rear end rebuilt and back underneath our Corolla rally car. We were super jacked because we found out there is going to be a rally race at a brand new venue in about a week and a half. The downside is we've got a few things to do on this thing if we're gonna make that race still. The first of which is I noticed a pretty big coolant leak after this thing has sat in my garage for just a couple days. So we're gonna go ahead right now and see if we can figure out where that's coming from and get the leak stopped. All right, so bit of a bummer.
If you guys can see that right there, we got a big old dent in the nipple, so I'm pretty sure that's our culprit.
So this is kind of common on older brass radiators where those nipples can get dented up and deformed, usually from taking it in or out of the vehicle. You know, you bang it on something, bang it on the subframe, the radiator support as it goes in or out. So I'm gonna have to pull the radiator out, unfortunately, drain that out and see if we can pop that dent back out and get it round enough to where we can get a good seal on it. See that the top one actually has a dent in it too, so we'll probably pop that out while we're at it, even though it was not leaking. All right, so it's been a couple days. If you can't tell, I'm sick. I just want to be unconscious right now. Just death, but you gotta do what you gotta do to get stuff done. Yeah, so I ended up pulling the radiator after I found that it was leaking and didn't do much else. It was my wife's birthday, so survival tip number one, if your wife ever asks you, are you doing any car stuff this weekend on her birthday weekend? The answer is always no, honey, of course not. So another night, I'm gonna see if I can pop these dents out real quick. Got it. See, now it's still not perfectly straight, but where we had a huge dent right here now, actually is reasonably straight. Now it looks like a dent, but that's actually just where the paint came off. Same thing on this one. We had a pretty large dent right there, and now it's just a tiny little flat spot, but it's not an actual indent. So hopefully that was our issue. Just go ahead and check our hose fitment real quick. This was a brand new Gates hose, so I'm really surprised that it was leaking. Fitment's it's not incredibly tight on there, but it's definitely not loose either, so I don't see any other issues with it. So I think we're just going to put everything back in. We'll fill it up with water and let it sit a couple days and see if that fixed our leak before we're draining it one more time and putting coolant in. Alright, so we'll see what that does. I cleaned up my floor really well, so we will let this thing sit overnight and we'll see if we got any drops. If not, I'll drain the whole system again and we'll actually throw coolant in it for real this time. Okay, so one last thing that we got to do to get this thing ready to run is we need to get these tires swapped out. So unfortunately, these wheels are freaking awesome. They're old school Panasports. If you remember in a previous episode, we got the hookup and found these finally. These are a 14-inch wheel. The wheels that are on it are a 13. These are just some kind of junk Steelies that have a terrible hub fitment and everything. Fortunately, these being 14s, we have 2 full sets of 14-inch snow tires, and those are 13s. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to run our nice wheels for this winter until we wear out this couple sets of snow tires that we have, and then following that we're going to be looking for 13s or another set of 14-inch wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and pop off these center caps just because they're really rare and hard to find, and the last thing I'm going to do is trash them rallying this thing in the snow. So we're just going to leave these off for now. So I've got to get these get the caps off, and then I'm going to take these over, get them dismounted, and get our snows mounted up, and we should be ready to rock and roll as soon as the snow hits. So we just had my good buddy Colby mount up those tires, and they look super aggressive. They fit, and we actually got the bad one to seal. So I'm super jacked about that. Thank you, thank you. If you guys need a hookup on something, come to INW Performance in Hayden. They are an awesome shop, and they really know what they're doing. They got some rad cars in here right now. Thanks, man.
No problem. So if they're like taillights are willing, like.
So as amazing as these things look, they're a little bit too big. Yeah, that's not gonna work. We only need that much lock, right? That'll get it done.
I think we could just flick it.
Yeah.
Who needs front end?
I think that's enough to flick it.
Throttle steer.
Yeah. So we could radius this pretty easily, but back here is going to be a pain in the butt, and we want to pull these whole fenders out eventually and wide body it, so we really don't want to trash them right now. So a little Craigslist hunting, and we went and picked up a cheap set of these today. These are 195 60 14s, which is really close to the 185 70 13s that were on it. So we're going to go ahead and swap these on, and hopefully we don't have any issues. Little bit of Craigslist hunting, and not one but two saves by INW Performance. Sincerely, thank you again, Colby. We really do appreciate it. And you guys are going to want to subscribe, because the next time we see you, we are finally getting the Corolla on a rally track. So we couldn't be more jacked. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We appreciate it, guys, and we will catch you in the next one.